So to jump right into things, so sport has the power to change. It's power to empower, break barriers, create hope, fight for a common goal, and build relationships. So the power lies in the passion of the collective shared experiences. So today I want to take you on a journey of how sport has changed my life and countless other individuals and communities around the world. So from grassroots level, and since I can remember, I've been playing with my father and brother for countless hours. So being a little competitive snob and having to compete with my older brother, I definitely learned how to be humble in defeat, and when the occasion arises, celebrate victory. So fast forward 10 years or so, I had the opportunity of playing rugby overseas for a year after I matriculated. So first in Haarlem, the Netherlands, and later that year, New York City, America. So leaving on a plane alone, going to a foreign country, leaving your friends and family back home, it's daunting. But what I realized with rugby or any sport, it gives you that nudge to step outside of your comfort zone. So this daunting experience definitely shaped me for the better and have given me opportunities, values, and friendships that I treasure immensely. So playing for one of the most prestigious rugby clubs on the east coast of the USA, Old Blue Rugby Club, was definitely life-changing. But it wasn't all fun and games all the time. So staying in the West Bronx in a house with 6 other much older teammates, it was definitely challenging at first, but a humbling experience. So let's look at history. So at times, the world can be a fractured place. But yet throughout history, people have come together on neighborhood pitches and in packed stadiums as fans and as players. And have put those differences aside for the sake of their teams. So sports' role in reducing conflict can be traced back to the creation of the Olympic Games. So Iphitus, king of Elis, in the 9th century BC, decided to start the creation of a peaceful sporting competition to end the armed conflict that was plaguing Greece at the time. So Iphitus gathered the support of his fellow monarchs and created the tradition of the Olympic truce, where all regional conflict would end for 7 days before and after the Games, every 4 years. So that all athletes, their families, could travel to and from the Olympics in peace. So let's look at the impact of sport on countries. So it is the unique ability of sport that makes it the perfect catalyst for development and positive change. It provides the basis for physical fitness and health while capturing and engaging people from all over the world on a global level like no other. Let us not forget perhaps the greatest memory sport has given us during one of the harshest times in our history. So Christmas Day 1914, World War I, when British Allied troops and German troops laid down their weapons and agreed on a Christmas truce. So there were numerous small football games being played, soldiers exchanged gifts with one another, and they sang carols all together. So as we think of the occasions that unite us as people, regardless of background or beliefs, it is hard to think of many as powerful as the stadiums we fill to cheer for our favorite teams and players, or the fields where we come together for pleasure and exercise. So in 2018, during the opening ceremony of the 23rd Winter Olympic Games in Pyeongchang, South Korea, we witnessed the power of sport as athletes from North and South Korea marched together under a united flag. So both of the two nations even entered a combined women's ice hockey team in what the New York Times called the most reconciliation gesture between them in a decade. Let's learn from the unifying power of sport and other examples if we want to find ways to use sport to bridge the gaps that divide us. So I'm guessing most of you have played a game of table tennis or ping pong before. So 25 years without communication or diplomatic relations, ping pong showcased the power of sport in ending the silence and reconciling the two most powerful nations in the world, China and USA. So the Chinese government invited US players to exhibition matches in their country in 1971. So this marked the first time Americans were allowed to enter the country since 1949. And then less than a year later, President Nixon made a historic trip to China, which ended the 25-year silence and re-establishment of diplomatic ties between them in 1979. So there are many other examples of the unifying power of sport, including the pro tennis double partnership of India's Rohan Bopanna and Pakistan's Asam Al-Haq Qureshi, who had a successful partnership for many years, despite their nations often being in conflict. So fans from both countries would fill the stadiums to watch their matches, including at the 2010 US Open, when their respective ambassadors cheered for a shared cause. So the team nicknamed themselves the Indo-Pak Express and started a campaign, Stop War, Start Tennis. So Qureshi described how fans from both India and Pakistan started to attend their matches. They were sitting in the crowd together, and you couldn't tell who was Pakistani or who was Indian. That's the beauty of sport. That's the beauty about playing. So communities are transformed by sport, and part of its efforts to support the implementation of the Doha Declaration, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime launched a global youth crime prevention campaign or initiative that builds on the power of sport as a tool. This initiative aims to promote sports and related activities to prevent crime and to effectively build the resilience of at-risk youth. So the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development underlines the growing contributions of sport as a tool for peace in its promotion of tolerance and respect. It also highlights the contributions that sport can make to the empowerment of communities as a whole, to individuals, as well as to health, education, and social inclusion. So ever heard of Kurt Fearnley? So most of us dream, so did Kurt. To one day play for Australia on the wing, swimming in the Olympics, or playing the Ashes cricket against England. Kurt knew he was different than most kids, but nobody told him he couldn't reach the levels he set out for himself. So one day playing in the backyard with his cousins and siblings, his dad threw him over his shoulder, rushed him inside, and plonked him down in front of the television. Mid-protest, looking away from his dad towards the television, he saw it. A dozen or more gladiators. They were in wheelchairs, but like Roman chariots. They weren't drawn by horses, but powered by the arms of men, bigger and stronger than he had ever seen before. So from that moment, Kurt's destiny was set. That's the first interaction that Kurt had with racing wheelchairs, and from that moment, his life would never be the same again. So Kurt went on to win 3 Paralympic gold medals, 7 world championships, and won over 40 marathons in a career spanning over 20 years. So Kurt is a firm believer that sport changes lives and that access to sport is a key differentiator. Kurt also described that sport isn't just about winning or losing, scoring or conceding, being the fittest in the world or living the healthiest lifestyle, but sport in its best form is an agent of change for society as a whole. Thus, we as people need to convey and teach this message, because sport has the power to transform individuals, teams, communities, and even nations, working to break down barriers and build opportunities that otherwise might not have been there. Whether you watch or play sport, sport is the essence of growth, resilience, and passion. And sport has a unique way of bringing people together to fight for a common goal and to unite them. So thus, this is my winning formula. And I want to leave you on a quote from our beloved Madiba. So sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in ways that little else does. It speaks to the youth in a language that they understand. Sport unites people. It's more powerful than government in breaking down racial barriers. It laughs in the face of all types of discrimination. Sport is the game of lovers. Thank you.